Okay, so I've been leaving their nest boxes on longer this time because I'm weaning them off calcium differently. And one of the things that I've discovered is if you pull the hen and leave the nest box on for a long time, Dad does a shift and starts thinking that he's feeding his mate rather than his babies, and he starts trying to get it on with his daughters. Clearly, this is not a good thing. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't want to pull him. He's still taking care of them and everything. But, so what I ended up doing was I pulled the nest box, didn't help. But what I did was I moved them from one cage to another. So this is Cookie over here with his 3. They were in this cage when they were babies being brought up. And I moved them over when Cookie started chasing his oldest, the little recessive pied up there, chasing her around like maybe she was his mate. I moved them over here, and by taking him out of his breeding territory, he reverted back to daddy role, and now he's feeding all of his chicks normally and not attacking his baby girls. So, something to keep in mind, if you have a daddy finishing off chicks on his own, and he starts trying to rape his baby girls, just put them in a different cage. Or if you are just doing one if you just have one pair that you're breeding, take the nest box off and pick up the cage and move it to a different room. That is just as good as changing cages. So, good to know. This up here is a group of birds that I've had that have, they're not well. They've just never really been well. So, I'm zapping them with some dual medications to see what's going on. But they're not breeders. These two, on the other hand, are breeders. Thalia started plucking her babies. She was nibbling all the down off of them. So I ended up having to put them in here. So these two are against my own rules, raising 4 chicks instead of 3, because I have nowhere else to put Thalia's babies. So the 2 older chicks in here are theirs, and the 2 younger ones are Thalia's. And they're all looking like they're yellows. I didn't get any, apparently Sprite is not split to blue because I did not get any blue babies out of them. Now Thalia is a Spangle just like Sprite, a green Spangle, and I bred her to a green cock, so I didn't expect to get any white-based chicks out of them. But her youngest chick is in here being raised alone by Hera, and looking an awful lot like, oh, come on, Mickey, don't be like that, like a white-based chick. So I might have got a white-based chick out of them. I don't know, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Might be a yellow face, but, oh, all right. Sheesh. And the other 2 chicks in there are Sprite and Ariel's 2 youngest chicks. So she's doing all fosters. She had blank eggs. I reset Luna and Hemsworth and got nothing, so they're out. I'm hoping that I'll get some decent fertility out of them in the spring. Spring is always much better. This is my girl who laid a bunch of blank eggs and spent her entire gestation sitting on eggs, fighting off a cock that was trying to wreck her nest. Then I gave her fertile eggs, not knowing what was going on, and she hatched one out, and he came in and killed all the rest of the eggs. But she protected that one baby, and do you see her hanging onto the wire above the entrance to her nest box? She is guarding that baby still with her life. But I'm going to take it off and show it to you because this turns out to be a really special little bird. This one is the 4th chick of Kobe and Lavender, the ones in the other shed. It's their youngest one, and surprise, surprise, it's a mauve. Now, its parents are see how its tail is gray? Its parents are a cobalt and a violet, and I got a gray chick out of them, which means that this is a mauve. So, really interesting. And it's the youngest chick. So, I have never had a mauve before. I can hardly wait till it finishes getting all its feathers so I can see what it looks like. See. What else have I got going here? So this is Ocean, who I set up with, 3rd time is the charm. I set him up with Narcissa, who's a proven hen, and I finally got 2 babies out of them. And they're younger, but they're looking really good, and they're both Spangles, like Daddy. He's not split to dilute, so I don't know why they both have white down. Anybody's guess. Actually, he is split to opaline, though. His mother was an opaline, so maybe they're both opaline spangles, and that's why, which would mean they're both girls. And maybe that's why they both have white down. Then there's my last wave, which is, this is Neptune and his girl. Neptune was with Mist at the beginning of the breeding season. She laid 4 eggs, all fertile, and they all fizzled because she's too old, so her embryos don't make it anymore. So she's been retired, and his new girl is Athena. Go on out, Athena. And he's a violet, she's a cobalt, and I'm hoping for great things. And I ended up with, I think, 5 out of 6 fertile eggs. The first 2 have hatched. Number 3 is due to hatch tomorrow. And when it does, I will take the last 2 fertile eggs and stick them in here with these 2 who have infertile eggs, but I kept them set up to play foster because I knew I had a lot of embryos in here. And then this is Skyboy and Mossy, who is, Skyboy is Sky and Jester's baby. Mossy is Haverty's daughter from a long time ago. And they actually ended up with fertile eggs in here. She was laying eggs in the corner and the poop corner and all kinds of things were going on. They're going to start hatching any time now. I think we have 3 fertile ones in there. Problem is, I think one of them is much, much older than the other 2. But we'll see what happens. And these 2, this is Shamrock, and he is probably what you call a Dutch pied or maybe a clear flight pied. There's a giant thumbprint on the back of his head and no pied markings and no clear wing feathers. He has a clear tail feather, but he's dropped it, so now he only has 1 colored tail feather. He might be a clear flight pied or a Dutch pied. The hen that I set him up with is a Jester and Sky baby girl, who expresses as a clear flight pied, even though her father was a dominant pied. So he was probably mixed. So I crossed them up just to see what I would get. And I believe that I have 3 fertile eggs in here as well, which are going to start hatching pretty soon. Hatch dates are the 8th and the 9th, and today's the 6th, so this weekend-ish. So that is the last of them, is those 3 pairs ready to hatch out chicks, and this 1 pair set up to be a foster, and then we will be done. This is also the last of the current wave that are getting put out. Cookie's babies their calcium is going down to 1/4 strength tomorrow. They'll be on it for 3 days, and then I'll launch them. That youngest chickadee sitting next to you right there is a week younger than the other 2. So that's Haverty's little gray-green opaline there that Cookie raised from the egg, and that is the little recessive pied that I was looking for out of him. But this little one was like a week younger than all the rest. He's doing pretty good. Cookie is still feeding him and taking care of him. But I'm stalling these 2 older birds out so that he can finish growing up. So they're going to end up getting launched when he is 5 weeks old instead of closer to 6 weeks. But he's handling it. He's fully feathered. He's a fat little guy, and I think he'll do just fine, especially since I put them out with their father so he can get care if he needs it. So they will be the last ones to go in the flight, where all the other ones are out in 4 more days. And then all the rest of these, from here on out, will go into the divided flight because it will be undivided by then. Hi, Sprite. Yes, you're very handsome. I hope your babies are beautiful. She's bred with a hen that has no feather whatsoever, and not really any in her line either. But she does have size in her line, so we'll see what we come up with. So that's the update on the breeding shed. Things are emptying out. I think I have 9 cages in here, down from the original 24 that I started with. So, whew, not quite so much time to try and get everybody fed every day. Okay.